Now, meanwhile, 30,000 jobs are likely to be affected by the 30% US tariffs. Now, this is the projection from government, which announced a raft of support measures for impacted local companies. The Departments of Trade, Industry and Competition, as well as International Relations, held a press briefing in Ekurhuleni earlier today, where Ministers Ronald Lamola and Pakstow confirmed the continuation of the negotiations with the US to lessen the impact on jobs as well as on the economy. For more on this and the impact that this might have, let's speak to Ambassador Xolelwa Mlumbi-Peter, who is the Deputy Director General at the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. So while one, of course, appreciates the fact that there will still need to be further assessments that are being done as far as the impact is concerned, you do have other industries with workers who are now fearing the worst, saying that they've now been moved to a state of panic given this particular development with the United States. Let's just perhaps begin there. What do you say to some of those as the 8th of August is fast approaching?
Government continues to do everything that it can to stabilize the trade and investment relations with the U.S. And the aim for us is to ensure that we have predictability in trade, which is why, as the South African government, we have submitted a framework deal, which is a proposal to the U.S. on how we can address, one, the U.S. concerns with regards to the trade deficit, but do it in a manner that also safeguards South Africa's interests. And therefore, yes, while we do acknowledge that the 30% will have an impact on jobs and will have an impact on manufacturing capacity, the important issue for us is to continue to engage the U.S. with a view to finalize a deal that will assist to move us forward. So we are continuing to engage with the U.S. and reach out to the U.S., but also engaging the affected sectors. And government is currently looking at, as announced by the ministers this morning, a package of measures that can assist the private sector to withstand the tariffs. We've also established an export support desk so that the affected industries and companies can reach out to the DTIC to look at where the alternative markets are. Because we'll be aware.
Yeah, pardon me for coming in there. This particular desk, right, let's speak to someone who's watching tonight who says, how do I access it?
We have the information in terms of people to reach out to in terms of specific markets. The information is available on the DTIC website.
So, and of course that helps to clarify for some of them, but you speak about these ongoing engagements with the United States, and given the relations over time up until this very point, there is a concern though that as much as you continue to engage, you may not be engaging with a United States that's much, receptive to the message that South Africa is putting across. And I say this because even the Minister of International Relations earlier on said there has been conflicting messages, and that has had a negative impact on the ongoing negotiations. How hopeful are you that the picture might change?
We remain hopeful. Of course, it's really a complex environment, and I think not only for South Africa, but for all the United States trading partners. But what is important is to continue to engage. At least what is important for us, and is an important factor in terms of the South Africa-US dynamics, we are the US's biggest trading partner in the continent, biggest investor in the US from the continent, and therefore we do have complementarities that require continued engagements to find each other. And there are US companies that are based in South Africa and vice versa, South African companies that are based in the US. So it's going to be important that both countries look at the interests of those companies and the workers with a view to find common ground.
And post submitting this particular, framework deal and the ongoing negotiations, if you can be candid with us, if at all possible, what has been the attitude of Washington?
Well, I think When we initially submitted the deal, I think there was a lot of reception from Washington in terms of acknowledging that we have attempted in the framework deal to cover all the critical aspects that the U.S. is looking for in terms of the bilateral deals. Of course, there were areas that we didn't cover initially, and following the engagement with Washington, we then complemented the deal by adding those aspects. For example, we are clear in terms of what it is that we need to do for us to reduce the trade deficit, regardless of whether we agree with the way it has been calculated. So we've identified specific items that we can import from the US, of course, aligned with our own national priorities. Two, we have looked at the non-tariff barriers that the U.S. has concerns with. Those relate mainly to market access for agricultural products. And South Africa has responded and has even gone beyond just responding by implementing some of those to ensure that we remove the issues of concerns to the U.S. This relates to the blueberries as well as poultry. So again, as a show of goodwill, we have gone ahead rather than to wait for the deal to be finalized. We have gone ahead and implemented. Three, we have also identified areas where we can invest in the U.S., which is also the biggest priority for the U.S. government, but also identified areas of collaboration where we can further enhance the supply chains between the two countries. One of those areas, for example, relates to the trade in nuclear products, and therefore we are looking into those aspects. So as far as we are concerned, the framework deal is comprehensive enough to address the issues of concern to the U.S. And added to that, we've also now included digital trade and looking at ways of collaborating, including addressing issues such as tariffs. That, of course, will require discussions with our SACU counterparts.
And just before I let you go briefly, what about the other question that kept on coming up this morning about the diversification of markets, given how things have been uncertain geopolitically?
I think this is not only a response to the U.S. measures. It has to be a strategic imperative for South Africa to diversify because heavy reliance on any one market leaves us exposed, as we can see. And therefore, there has been a concerted effort by the South African government to diversify markets and to diversify our export base, including supporting especially the previously disadvantaged companies and women-owned and youth-owned enterprises to also be export-ready so that we can take advantage of the huge market access opportunities that exist in various markets across the world. The ministers this morning also outlined practical things that we have been engaged in as the government with a view to unlock opportunities for growth, such as the engagements that we've had with the EU around the Clean Trade and Investment Partnership that aims to unlock market access for new products that are required for the green economy. Such as sustainable aviation fuel, as well as to unlock challenges or address challenges that relate to the export of hybrids as well as electric vehicles.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And we'll continue then to get regular updates on this particular story. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That was Ambassador Xolelwa Mlumbi-Peter, who is the Deputy Director General at the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll also have a conversation with some of the industries that could be facing some of the impact here, and how are they going to be absorbing all of it.
Did you know you can get a life insurance quote from Outsurance in just 8 minutes? Our quote is accurately based only on you and your unique risk factors for the most affordable premium possible. Starting your life insurance has never been so easy, simple and fast. You can get up to 5 million Rand life insurance without doing medicals or blood tests for your convenience and ease. Trust OUTsurance with your life and get quality life insurance for a price you can afford.
We never planned to have kids. However, life happened and we were blessed a year later with a beautiful bundle of joy. Life insurance became something that we started thinking about after we had lost my sister. The consultant that I dealt with was extremely empathetic. That for me is so important. There was no blood tests, no medicals. I was able to get my policy almost immediately.
There's never been a better time to start your life insurance and protect dependents and loved ones from financial shock. Get a quote in just 8 minutes and start your life insurance instantly with just one call.
Being married is having someone that you can confide in and someone that you can just have fun with. We don't have kids, but we've got 6 little doggies. I took out life insurance to protect my wife. There's no medical tests or anything like that. I've been an OUTsurance client for 19 years already. That's almost half my life. They give me good service, good rates. Still